So we have a small red day in the small account. Not a whole lot going on with the positions that I have open. I did make some changes to my account today. We'll get into the details here coming up. So we can see I'm down $48 on the day. Net liquidation is $11,473. Palantir's up 5 cents, overall flat there. SoFi's down 3 cents, overall flat. And Tesla's down $2.50, more or less flat, right? So not too much action going on here. And we'll go into the changes that I made to my small account with T-Flow and the reason behind that. So let's look at it. So I had to sell 5 shares of T-Flow today because my cash balance was negative after my SoFi positions got assigned. So I now own 200 shares, and my broker here, TastyTrade, is asking me to have more cash on hand since I now own those shares. And I figure that out by going to the account up here with BAL. And if this cash is negative, if that number is a negative number, ultimately it's going to be a settled cash balance as a negative over time once it settles. And then I'm going to end up with a pending margin interest line here. So the 53 cents here was from a previous assignment that I got, but that is where I find out if I'm being charged for margin or not. So I was in the negative on my cash balance, so I decided to go ahead and sell 5 more shares of T-Flow to get cash freed up to cover the shares that I now own of SoFi. So overall here, there's not a whole lot of movement going on here with Palantir. We are settling around that $21 range, and we don't want to break the ADMA. So we are staying around this level here. We touched the ADMA, came back down a little bit. So hard to say at this point how the rest of the week is going to look. Are we going to stay within this range? Are we going to end up breaking this low? We have a lot of support down here, and every bottom we've had has been a little bit of a higher bottom, but the heights are not staying there, right? So that's a bit of a challenge. What we really need to see if we're going to see a change in direction is to break these moving averages and to break this supply line right here, this high end. So are we going to see that this week? Hard to say. I'm not seeing a whole lot of action here to start the week. It is a short week with Memorial Day being yesterday. So hard to say at this point. But again, not a whole lot of action going on in my small account today. And SoFi is pretty much the same story here. We're floating around that $6.80, $7 range. Not a whole lot of movement here. We did go past the ADMA and we didn't want to hold there, so that's not very promising, right? We could continue to consolidate in these ranges here. We are below it, just like how Palantir looks, very similar kind of setup here. We are under the moving averages, and we have some bottoms here that support, but we do definitely want to see it stay above the second bottom here and see increasing bottoms as we go. Higher highs and higher lows is what we want to see. And so it's hard to say at this point what we're going to be looking at. Decent volume overall compared to the green day we had at the end of last week. So it is hard to say what we're going to be seeing for the rest of the week. Are we going to continue to see some consolidation here? We have the trend against us here. We really need to see it if we're going to see a positive move here on SoFi in the short term. It's going to have to be breaking these moving averages. So that is going to be a little bit of a challenge here for the stock. And once again, here we see Tesla floating around this base. And what I think we're going to end up seeing here is kind of a cut formation here. And how long it's going to take, it's hard to say. But that's what I believe we're going to see, is eventually we're going to see it push back up. Now, we didn't want to stay above the ADMA here, but we didn't want to stay below the 21 EMA. So we had some pushback up after touching, nearly touching that 50-day moving average. So that is looking pretty good. There is a little bit more promise here in Tesla than SoFi or Palantir. It does look a little better here than those two stocks right now. So we could be seeing pushback up this week. It's hard to say at this point, but that's what we're looking at right now, is pretty well staying close to these moving averages. Not a whole lot of action going on. And then if we look at the broader market here, we're shelving off here in the SPY. So we did manage to make new highs last week. We didn't hold it. We had a big red candle down here on decent volume, and we touched the support line here, and we're staying above it. The trend line is up. We are staying above the ADMA, so there's not really any alarms here, but we are seeing a shelving here, a base forming, and we need to see that break if we're going to be seeing new highs. So I think The market's really kind of undecided on what it wants to do. Are we going to continue to see new highs? Are we going to continue to see money flow into the markets? Or are we pulling back and resting for a minute? Or are we going to end up changing direction here? Only time will tell us what's going to happen. Right now, there's nothing alarming. We're still consolidating. So that is something to watch out for. Are we going to continue to see new highs? Or are we going to end up breaking these moving averages and start going down again? So I'm a new options trader and I'm on a learning journey, and I want to share the things that I learn with you. So if you want to follow me, hit that subscribe button. If this video was a help to you, hit the like button, and we will see you on the next video.